back to
Bunso Bites.
I'm your host, Ami43.
And I'm your co-host, Chigi.
Hi, Chigi.
Hi, Ami.
How are you?
Meh.
Yeah, I am tired. It's been a week, a day, a life. It's just been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been busy. How's work going?
Work is work.
Yeah.
I found out that I'll be training again.
Oh,
So
back
it's
to
gonna
that cycle.
be long days. Trying to cram a bunch of work into one day and a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's overtime. It's bad that it's sapping the life energy out of me.
I know. I'm in, my work, my work's always busy. We've had more changes happening with the process. So it's just like, as soon as I was telling this to my coworker, it's like we do something on Tuesday, Wednesday, completely different rules. Thursday, okay, we're going to go back on that first set of rules and we're going to go back to what we were doing on Tuesday. Friday, okay, so don't do what we said to do on Tuesday. What? Like, the amount of work, in addition to the inability to be productive, has just been such a mental strain, because it's like you're trying to work and get through your inbox. As soon as you get through it, you did it wrong. We have new guidance. We have whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing makes sense. And so I feel like, in addition to everything that's been going on in our personal lives, us trying to plan a wedding, us being busy at church, us doing, D&D campaigns and trying to be social and all this stuff, I'm just like, when I'm at work, I agree with you. It's been very draining, where it's like, I can't even get through the day without having some type of, if not full-blown headache, at least a little mini one, because it's just the stress and the back and forth has been pretty insane. The turnaround is so quick on like these new things, and it's just like, okay, like for my particular team at work, we have a weekly team meeting, and the last 4 weeks, I guess now it would be 4 weeks, every team meeting it's this one part of this thing, and it changes and it changes and it changes and it changes, and I'm like, so what are we doing? No one knows. It's so bad. And then I feel for like my supervisor and her supervisors, because they're just trying to do their best. Like, I'm not blaming anybody here. The process has just been, decisions are being made without the thought being put into what that means. So it's like someone makes a decision, and then the people underneath have to figure out what that means and how to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of all of that, no one is coming into agreement, so then things keep changing. So I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I don't know if like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm doing my best, trying my hardest to keep my head down and just chugging along. One of the good things is, and this recently, I've been able to have productive conversations with like, supervisors and other people, and it's like, it's been nice to know that I'm hearing it from them too. They're just as frustrated as we are, and as the peons are, because they're in the same boat. They're just like, well, we're not making the decisions, we're just following the guidance. But then if the guidance keeps changing, and it's like, well, what are you supposed to do? But all that to say, I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm still grateful for my job, but it has been, I have a lot of white hair now, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It feels like it anyway.
Well, sorry to hear that.
No,
but
it's life. It's life.
It is what it is.
Yes, exactly.
So let's move on to something that will brighten your day. And we're going to go back to opening up the Labubu's. So
yeah,
we've opened up 3 boxes so far. So we have 3 more to go. You have top left, top middle, and then bottom left.
I'll do the corner box. So top
So
left.
she's choosing top left.
Again, these are big into energy. Chigi and I opened the box a few weeks back, and Chigi has allowed me the opportunity to open a Labubu every episode. I have been looking forward to these because they're just so much fun, and it is bringing a little bit of light in our lives right now. So let's open it to figure out. So far we have Serenity, which is green, Hope, which is blue, and Happiness, which is orange. There is a 1 in 72 chance of us getting the secret. I doubt we're going to get the secret, but the hope is that we'll at least get the full set. So, let's go. So satisfying. Again, when you open these, open away from your face.
So you don't spoil.
You don't see the card.
You don't spoil the surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to be very careful not to look. Maybe the audience can see, but...
Can you see?
I'm not looking. Pop Mart, big into energy, Labubu's. Ready, set, 3, 2, 1. And we got... purple! Oh, wait, no. Like purpley bluey. These are like tie-dye colors.
Bluey.
Well, because it's multiple colors. Ooh, it's multiple colors. Also, her ears are different.
So in the box,
Let me fix her ears.
Card says,
Oh,
Luck.
this is Luck. Hi, Luck. Say hello to Luck, everyone. She's so cute.
Hi, Luck.
Look at her little face.
So the card for the Labubu, I guess the symbol that's behind Labubu is a shield.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll throw that off.
She's so cute. I hope you're going to be putting close-up pictures of these. So I really like, obviously, the colorway of this. We love a good purple, blue, colorway. Also, like a little bit of pink, too. Like, just overall cool tones. But if you look at her eyes, she actually has, like, little stars, like glitter in her eyes. So pretty. Please put a close-up so that everyone can see. Can see. And then, of course, her little painted toenails, her little painted tooth, and then her little purple nose. So, she's so cute. Say hi to Luck, everybody.
Hi, Luck.
We're going to add her to set. Yay. Oh, she's so perfect. Look at her. Hey, girl, hey. And that actually brings me to my phone, which is part of today's episode. Not my phone, but I'm going to be reading from my phone. I've been wanting to do this for a while. We did this like in one of the earlier episodes. I don't know, maybe a couple months back. I don't remember. Where we reacted to Reddit stories, or like we reacted to a Reddit story. It was the one that I had like come across on my deep dives in the internet, as you do. And here's another one that I came across, and I wanted to talk to Chigi about it because this is something that happens to Chigi and I wouldn't say frequently, but it happens enough times that Chigi and I are like, oh, okay. We tend to get a lot of our younger friends or friends who are single, and they come to us with like relationship stories, or they come to us with like, oh, this happened, like what does this mean, or like how do you deal with this, or whatever, concerning relationship things, which is an honor because I think to them that means that they look at our relationship and they admire it, or they want to emulate aspects of it. And so I came across this Reddit story, and I thought it was really I'm gonna kind of divide it into two parts, and there's two like poignant points that I think it would be good for us to talk about.
Okay.
So, this is Reddit under r/relationship_advice, and this was just posted a few minutes ago, so this literally was like perfect timing. So, OP starts out as, I, 25 female, have been dating this guy, 28 male, for about 2 years. We met in August of 2023. For the sake of the story, we'll call this guy Bane. And things definitely moved fast to the point where we got an apartment together after a year of meeting. For context, Bane and I aren't at the same stages in life. I graduated with a tech degree in 2023, but haven't had much luck in the job market outside of internships. I don't have a ton of debt, maybe $25K total in credit cards, student, and car loans. I've been getting by working as a flex employee at the Big River Company, working as a contractor for a local tech startup, and I make up the difference with side gigs and Instacart. Go girl boss, like making it work. I also have dreams of getting my clothing brand, which has been in work since 2018, off the ground, but have time and financial barriers, and also I think the market has been oversaturated. Bane, on the other hand, did not get to finish college due to finances. He also has been limited on jobs, he can get due to a misdemeanor he got before we met. He also had recently lost his mother during his time working as an EMT before the misdemeanor. His car broke down not too long after we met and was living at home after losing money due to legal fees. We are both not in the best situations, but bonded over our desire to improve our lives, mentally and physically. Fortunately, we've been making strides over a time period, and I've rapidly been paying down my debt and improving my credit. Good job. I'm saying good job. Bane finally got the money together to get his car fixed, which required me to take on rent for a month. However, after 2 years of us living together, Bane claims that he loves me but is not in love with me. This whole time, us living together was just dating, in quotations, for him. And he won't be comfortable marrying me until he falls in love. But this is where things are confusing. From my understanding, being in love is more like infatuation, which is temporary. But if you still choose to grow with someone despite many disagreements and tense arguments, that's love. I explained to Bane that there isn't a magical switch that makes you wake up and be like, I want to get married today. It's a feeling over time that's based on existing love that has prevailed despite hardship. He feels it's the other way around. You can love generally, but eventually you become infatuated enough to get married, which I believe is ridiculous and misguided. But he fails to see how any of that can be confusing, and claims all guys think that way, which is false. Because I definitely called my 47-year-old dad to ask his opinion on the matter. He believes Bane is speaking from being young and inexperienced. So I'm gonna stop here. There's a little bit more, but I want to stop here. And I guess first and foremost, do you think there's a difference between being in love and being in love? like based on the story, right? Like she's talking about being in love and then being like in love.
Well, where is it in the story where she says quote unquote in love and or infatuated in love, something like that?
Yeah, she says, from my understanding, being in love is more like infatuation, which is temporary. But if you still choose to grow with someone despite many disagreements and tense arguments, that is love.
Okay.
So, is there a difference between being in love and love?
So, being in love is something that which I like to call puppy love. Okay. So, like the initial stages of liking or loving someone. Sure. You push away. You. Well, yeah, you push away like a lot of the things that may annoy or get to someone. You push that aside because you're so in love with the person at the moment that those things don't matter. Yeah. So there's that type of love, and then there's the love that's like everlasting and that will work in an actual relationship. Sure. So like the OP said, you know, something that's like tried and true, something that's been tested, something that's been worked through in the relationship. So yes, there is a difference. Being in love, you know, it could be a matter of minutes, a matter of hours, days, maybe even a couple of weeks or months. Yeah. But that phase does end. Yeah. So yeah, I think there is a difference. Yeah. I don't know if I would say one ends or one begins in that sense. I think, or the way I differentiate it in my head is being in love is a feeling. I feel like, oh, I'm so in love with you. I love you so much. You're so fun. You're so cute. I'm in love with, you know, spending time with you. I want to do things with you. That's being in love. But loving someone is an action. So, you know, you're really, really tired after a long day of work. And I'm really, really tired after a long day of work. But I'm still going to stand in the kitchen for 2 hours and cook you a meal because you deserve that. Loving someone is, you know, when I'm having a panic attack, you put aside whatever it is that you're doing and you make sure I'm okay. You know, being, you know, when your other half is not 100%, you're being the extra. Like if you're at 75, then I'll be 125 and vice versa. That to me is love. It's an action. And we've said this before, the difference in like,
I choose to keep coming back to you. I choose to stay with you. I make the active choice. I make the active action. It's a thing that you're doing to love this person. And I do that because I'm in love with you. I do that because I trust you. I owe so much to you. I rely on you, and vice versa. So I feel like that's how I differentiate it in my mind, because I don't want to ever say, like, yes, I think maybe the puppy stage of love in our relationship is gone, but I'm still very much in love with you. I still very much like joking with you and playing with you and like living a silly life with you. Like, I always want that to be part of our relationship because that's my favorite part of our relationship. But I think you and I make the sacrifices we need to make individually so that we can together live that life. Like, I don't want to have to keep going to work when I'm sick of it right in this very moment, but I know that I need to go to work so that we can I don't know, buy a house. We can I can buy more Labubus. I don't know, but like, we can do the fun, silly things because we are aspiring for that kind of life together. So, I'm doing actions to help because I am in love with you. I think that's how I differentiate it. So I don't necessarily think OP is right or wrong. I agree with her in a sense that there is a difference. And I think, and one of the things that really kind of hit home for me, at least on this story, was she was saying like, oh, OP and I, we kind of started out at like different points in our lives. And that hits home really, really hard for me because you and I were the same way. When OP started her story and she was talking about how, yeah, I got my degree and I got internships. Like, she doesn't get a job. That's 100% my life story. I did everything right. And then when I got out of college, didn't get a job. What did I do? I, took on a full-time job doing retail because that's all I could do. And, and I took on odd jobs. I took on contract work to gain experience. Like, I did other things to try to get to, my quote-unquote big girl job, which I'm fortunate that I do have a big girl job now. But it's like, it took me time. It wasn't like as soon as I got out of college, everything was fine and dandy, like the way life was supposed to pan out, in that sense. And so, and then, obviously, I hope this gentleman's, life, it doesn't sound like his life was any easier. He wasn't able to finish college, and then he happened to lose his mom, which is such an unfortunate thing. Like, that's not an easy thing to come back from, especially if you're at a point in your life where you're not expecting to lose your mom. It sounds like, he is 29, 28. Yeah. That's really young. I don't, obviously your mom could be at any age, but generally speaking, like if I'm at 32, so his mom is probably around the same age as our moms. I was like, oh, if I lost my mom, that's hard. That's not easy. And you have to like bounce back from that, especially when you're not quite at a place where maybe you have a career job or maybe you're whatever, because of life, things happen. So when she was saying that, like, I really felt where she's coming from, and so that's why this story really stood out to me when I was looking for Reddit stories, because like, oh yeah, I get where you're coming from. And I agree with her that because our relationship was built on quote unquote our hardship. I want to be very clear. Chigi and I lead a very privileged life, but I would say we were late bloomers, so to speak. We didn't get our big kid jobs until much later in our lives, at least if you were to look at the general timeline of people's lives. While most of our friends were getting their career jobs in their early to mid 20s, Chigi and I didn't get it till our late 20s, if not early 30s. You were already in your 30s, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's not to say it's right or wrong. That's just how, that was the cards that we were dealt in life. I know you were hardworking and you were trying to figure it out. You changed careers so many times trying to, get yourself up off the ground. And it wasn't until, your early 30s that you finally found something that stuck. Same with me. I was trying to build a career doing retail, and I think I went pretty dang far, but, thankfully, I'm glad now I was able to get a corporate, so to speak, job, an office job, a 9-to-5. Because that much better suits my lifestyle rather than working odd hours and working holidays retail. Not to say that I wasn't already doing that. I was doing that because I thought that's what I had to do, because I couldn't find a way out until I found my job. So I get it, and everyone's timeline is so different. So I sympathize with this girl where she really feels like she's like trying to figure it out. She did all the right things. She went to college, she graduated, and now she's working 4.5 odd jobs just to make ends meet. So I feel that, but and I feel like because you and I started in a more humble place and we've grown individually, which allowed us to grow together, that really did test our relationship in different ways. Mm-hmm. It tested, I wouldn't even say the strength, but just kind of the endurance of our love, so to speak. Because there were definitely times where we were just like, what are we doing with our lives? Like, we don't know. We have nothing. But then we had each other, and that was motivation for you and motivation for me in our own ways. And now we're in a better place, which is wonderful. So it's like, I get where she's coming from. I feel like it's one of those things. And that's not like, obviously if you're living a great life and your partner's living a great life and you guys come together and you guys make something even bigger and better, that's awesome. But I think the thing that you shouldn't be disillusioned about is, regardless of whatever your situation is in life, whether it's good, bad, somewhere in the middle, if you are committing to a long-term relationship and you're committing to to your person or to this person, that will come with its own trials and hardships, whatever that may be, because you were two separate individuals coming together as one, mentally, emotionally, when you get married and all that stuff, like all that comes together as one. And you have to be able to put aside yourself and think of you two as a unit. Even if I may feel one way or the other, I have to consciously be thinking of, well, even if I feel this way, what's Chigi feeling, or what does he see? And then we come together, compromise, we come together, we reorganize, we look at what works best for us, not just for you, not just for me, for us and our future and what we want. And I think that is, you should never try to bypass that, and you should value that part of a relationship, because those hard moments are the moments that you build off of. I have such a deep trust for Chigi because he has seen me at my lowest, and vice versa. I think we have a deep understanding and a love, and I know where he's coming from, he knows where I'm coming from, and regardless of his background, regardless of my background, albeit similar or different, we can have differing opinions, but at the end of the day, we come together and be like, well, even though we have different opinions, what's the best option for us? So I feel I don't know, I that's got to be hard, because obviously, like in this situation, OP and Bane is such a funny name, because isn't that the bad guy's name in Batman? OP and Bane are, it sounds like they're in a disagreement of like where their relationship is. Like maybe she feels like they're more committed and he feels like, no, we're just dating, or I don't know, however you want to phrase that.
Yeah. You got to take into account our lifestyles as well. Yeah. So us, we may not be married as of yet. Yeah. But we are in the works to getting married. Yeah. Whereas this couple, OP and Bane, they're not speaking in any type of way in getting married. They have a relationship. And all that's said in the post is that they've rushed things to the point where that they've got an apartment together within the first year. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, it's possible that things can still work out between the two. Yeah. But it's like things are moving so fast. You're not really valuing the relationship at this time. You're just going through the motion. And she says that they are in different stages in their life. So us being really conservative, like we got through the majority of the stuff that we had to do in life before we started dating. So we got through school, we got our degrees. We weren't struggling, quote unquote, like they are probably, but I mean, we had our own struggles.
Right.
But
as I'm saying, we are very privileged. I'm not denying that. Yeah.
Comparatively, they're in a worse situation than we are.
Sure.
So, not only going through that, I believe that if you're in that relationship where you're not only financially stable in life, but just where you want to be in life, it's gonna hinder the relationship as well.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely tell you in Bane's point of view, the way that OP phrases it.
Yeah.
He is in such a deep, dark state in his life at the moment.
Right.
He's going through his mother passing away.
Grief, yeah.
Not only that, it says that he has a misdemeanor. So he has some type of interaction with the law, and not only that, he's also losing money to legal fees.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Is that true. What it said? Legal fees. Yeah, legal fees.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that entails, whether it be court cost or the money that the money that he has to put up for the lawyer or the attorney for the court case, or because the passing of his mother, the funeral costs.
Yeah. He was put in a rough spot. For sure.
Right. So just being in that much negative energy, that situation, it's going to hinder the relationship, because when he has nowhere to turn to, or he feels that life is so hard at the moment, he's going to lash out. And whether that be to OP or in some other form, it will negatively affect her and the relationship. So them being in a relationship right now is probably not the best thing in the world.
May not be the best idea, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is where they're at the moment.
Yeah.
Not only that, since they have the apartment together, they're gonna see each other every day. So whether they like it or not, they could be at the highest of highs or the lowest of lows. They're gonna see everything.
Yeah.
And
you ain't got nowhere to hide.
Yeah. You can't really hide your secrets from someone that sees you on a daily basis. So they're gonna notice things, and things will come out, and it's in those situations where those things will come out, and
because you're the most vulnerable. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Right. So I think Bane also at this point, because they're living together, I think he's losing the falling in love part, because he can't find any time away from her as well. So maybe he needs some time to be alone, or just to think things through.
Sure.
But it's not said in this post what that situation is for him. If
right.
he has
this is
that,
from Opie's perspective. We are only hearing her side. We don't really know Bane's side.
Yeah. We don't know if he has a support group of friends or family that can help him through this time. And it doesn't really say it in the post either if she's actually helping, or if any of her friends or family is helping him go through this. So I mean, he could be going through something very traumatic, and
I mean, we do know he's going through something traumatic with the loss of his mother, on top of he's in a not great place because of the misdemeanor, because he's not able to get a job, whatever that situation is. So you're correct, he's not in a great place right now.
Yeah. So I mean, just all that to say, I don't think being in a relationship at this point of time would be beneficial to either of you.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's I appreciate the fact that you brought that up, because I think, and obviously this is just a Reddit story. We don't know these people, and obviously they're intentionally anonymous. But sometimes, and I fall into this too, it's really easy to forget the human side of it, because we don't know who OP is, we don't know who Bane is. But I think you highlighting and this is something that I was just talking to our friend about this. This is so Disney coded, but I have taken this to heart because I really, and I try to keep this in my mind when I'm interacting with people, and maybe negative things are happening, like negative things in a relationship are happening, whether that's a friendship, coworker, our relationship, whatever. But I try to keep in mind that hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. So if someone's hurting on the inside, they, like you said, maybe it's a lash out, or maybe it's he's venting to her because, oh, we're in a relationship, so I can trust you. I'm going to vent to you without really, there's so much that can go into that. So when someone is hurt internally, that hurt comes out, whether it's intentional or not. So I appreciate that you bring up his side, albeit we don't know the details, or the details. We just know OP's perspective on it. But so that's the setup. We do still have a whole other part. This is the second part to this. So again, she's confused because for him, they're just dating, and then for her, they are, I guess in her mind, maybe they're further along, or like she's like the difference between being in love or loving someone. So she continues, OP continues. This is where things are confusing. From my oh, nope, I read that. I'm sorry, I skipped. Okay, there. OP continues. Here's where things got bad. I was at work and Bane was treating the patio for ants and put down ant powder. Tried to hide the bottle from my dog, but he got into it anyways. I got really upset because I love my dog and he's also my service animal for some psychological issues I deal with. I expressed that if he was going to put down the powder, he could have brought my dog in the house just until I got home from work so that he wouldn't go digging for the bottle. He refuses to accept any responsibility, saying he didn't feed my dog the powder, he just happened to get into it. And since nothing happened, I'm being overdramatic. But I feel that as a human adult in the situation, there could have been more steps taken, and initially I was calm and non-hostile when expressing this. But after him snapping at me for something small, I snapped back that he was a hypocrite and that I had way more reason to be angry because of the powder thing, but I didn't come at him that way. I tried to get him to use empathy and ask for accountability, but he's like, it's not my dog. Which I know is true, but ouch. So on top of potentially killing the one being I know for certain that loves me after all this time, you basically see me as nothing other than friends with benefits. So I told him that I hate him and essentially had a mental breakdown because I didn't realize, despite all the romantic stuff he does, how little he actually values and respects me. At this point, I feel like being with him is just a business decision, but I'm having a hard time cutting it off, and he won't do it either. So, there's a lot. There's a lot in that. First and foremost, from my understanding of the story, thank goodness the dog is okay. Chigi and I are very big fur baby lovers. A lot of our friends have fur babies, and we are aunt and uncle to a lot of fur babies. But it seems like, she said, the guy said, oh, nothing happened, so it's fine. So thankfully the dog is okay by the sound of it. Secondly, that is hard because, yes, I agree. I think if and whenever you make a mistake, whatever that mistake is, as an adult, you should, apologize, take accountability for a mistake you made. Now, you could talk about how to approach the similar situations in the future, or expectations, boundaries, whatever that may be in your relationship. And this is not just about the dog situation, but just like in general. Like if you make a mistake of any kind in a relationship and I end up hurting your feelings or vice versa, you apologize because you hurt this person's feelings. And in this particular situation, OP was seemed like, they're very upset over the dog that they, love and care about. And, when I read that, at least from her perspective, he doesn't take accountability, that, I don't want to say it put a red flag in my head, but it was just kind of like, oh, that's not good, because I understand how maybe you could feel like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. But then if your significant other is expressing, actually, this is a big deal because it's important to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want you to think that I'm not caring about you or that I don't care about the dog. It's just, I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm sorry. Next time, if we have to do this or whatever, what would you like me to do? Oh, you want me to bring the dog in the house? Okay, great. Like, that's not that hard to do, I don't think. You could just kind of you can acknowledge that a mistake was made, because, obviously we don't want, little doggo to get hurt. But you could also take that as an opportunity to be like, okay, so what do we do in the future? What is our game plan for the future? Oh, maybe if we know that I have to do, certain housework that can be, dangerous for the dog, maybe, you and I look at putting the dog, in the kennel for the day or something, like coming up with a solution, whatever that may be, whatever works for you, for OP and Bane, or, anyone in a similar situation. So that was, the not taking accountability part really was like a oof for me. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it does raise a flag that he accepts no kind of accountability for the actions that he did. Mm-hmm. But I could kind of see where he's coming from. I'm not saying that it's right.
Right.
But
his perspective, yeah.
From his perspective, like, he's still being bogged down by, the traumatic experience. He's still going through the misdemeanor, court costs, whatever. And then on top of something that he would probably just do on a normal basis.
Yeah. He's just maintaining the house.
Right. He's maintaining the house. And I could see that, nothing happened to the dog. Mm-hmm. But if you are still trying to, advance your relationship with OP, mm-hmm. That dog is going to be part of your life as well.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, you should have at least, taken some accountability of mm-hmm. your action.
Yeah.
Because let's say the dog did ingest some of that powder and it was poisonous, and he ended up passing away.
Yeah.
For whatever
even
reason.
Just going to the vet, like, and how much is the vet bill? Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're gonna cover that? Like, taking accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, but for him just saying that, oh, it's not my dog.
Yeah.
That's kind of rough too, because, like, for some people, like you and me, we love dogs unconditionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we love little furry friends.
But for her, for OP,
mm-hmm.
that's her emotional support animal.
That's her dog, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you just unalived my dog.
Right.
You unalived a part of me. So that, I don't think he was thinking about that per se. But, to OP, that really does hurt her, because that dog is such a big part of her life.
It's a big priority for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I also think that, I don't know, like, if you have any type of animal,
yeah,
even if it's not yours, you're dealing with something that could potentially kill things. Mm-hmm. So if you're not cognizant of,
it's going to kill the ants, right. So it's going to kill something.
If you're not cognizant of, like, where you're putting it and what's around,
right,
like, yeah. Dude, you're supposed to be liable for what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, thankfully nothing happened to the dog. But
right, thankfully. I will also say, because as you were talking, I was thinking about it too, because you make a good point. Like, oh, maybe in his mind. And again, I really want to emphasize, like, trying to be reminded of the human side of this, right? So, maybe him, in his mind, he's like, I'm doing you a favor by taking care of the house. The dog's fine. It's not that big of a deal. My mom died. Like, not to, like, throw one over the other, but it's kind of just like, one's a little weightier, maybe, maybe, I don't know, perspective. But it's also just like, again, hurt people. So, like, for him, it wasn't a priority. For her, it was a priority. And all of that to say, one of the things, because she had expressed in her her iteration of their communication, that when she talked to him about it initially, she didn't come at him angry, but then because he was so nonchalant, then she got angry. One of the things that you and I had to learn was communication when you're angry and when you're upset.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not easy. When you're angry, when you're upset, you do not care what you say, how you say it, or whatever. You're just being angry or upset, whatever. A combination of both. And Chigi and I have learned the hard way that you really can't talk when you're angry. You can't. Mm-hmm. We can't as individuals. And so we know that if we're angry with each other, we give each other the time to decompress. Why? Because it keeps the other person sane, for all intents and purposes. And we've talked about this again. We've talked similar things. Talked about this in our previous relationship episode. But what it really comes down to is knowing your boundaries in communication. Like, Chigi knows where he cannot overstep, even when he is angry and upset, and vice versa. I know where I cannot overstep, when I'm angry. But we give each other the grace of, okay, you're angry. You're not in an okay enough state of mind for me to have a productive conversation with you. So our solution, because of this is how we are, is, we take a breather until our heart rate goes down, until our mind clears of the fire and, fog that is being upset and angry. And, it's always I promise to come back to you. I just can't be here right now. Mm-hmm. And that's okay, because we've made that okay for us. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily the solution for OP and Bane, but I think the point I'm trying to make is, clearly you guys are figuring out communication-wise, like, where you guys even are in the relationship when you guys are already kind of struggling with a lot of other things outside of your lives. But when you are in a relationship, I mean, it's not uncommon to hear, but communication is really key. And it's not even just communication as in I tell Chigi everything, Chigi tells me everything, because we already do that. But it's the knowing who, where, or knowing how and when to say the things that need to be said. Because there are things that, come up in life, and there are things that happen, or there are things that, whatever, problems and issues, and it could be anything. It could be money, it could be health, it can be, situations, it can be, external people trying to do other things, and Chigi and I are just like, no, because it's us. But, we have to know and understand, like, hey, that's not in our control. What we are in control of is ourselves and each other. And I know Chigi gives me the space to feel all of my big, crazy emotions. I give Chigi the space to process his emotions. Mm-hmm. And that took a lot of work and time and effort to get here. And I'm not saying it's like that for everyone. I'm not. That's Chigi and I's personal experience. But I think at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is knowing that that's part of it. And we prioritize that. Because I don't ever want Chigi to misconstrue or misunderstand something that I'm saying or doing. There have been so many times when I'll say something and then Chigi ends up being like hurt or upset over something. And I'm just like, what did I say? What did I do? And then afterwards, when we reconvene and we can talk about it, I'm like, oh, I had no idea. And why would I ever want to hurt Chigi? That completely defeats the purpose. This is the person that I love. This is my person. I would never want to hurt him. And vice versa. You've said things or done things that I've taken personally, but it was just, it was a perspective thing. It was something that was misconstrued. It was a miscommunication. Mm-hmm. But it was important to us to clear that up, because I don't want you to ever think that I'm trying to hurt you, and I think you feel the same way. No, I know you feel the same way, because we work so hard to make sure that the other person is good, the other person is okay. And I don't take your sacrifices for granted the same way I know you don't take my sacrifices for granted, individually and as a couple. So, to Bane, I'm really sorry that life has dealt you a very difficult set of cards. And I can only hope and pray that, it seems like you are hardworking and you're trying to figure things out and get yourself on the right foot. And I hope that you can do that. To OP, you seem to be working really, really hard and getting yourself to a better place. And I think that's wonderful and amazing. I think I agree with Chigi in that maybe being in a relationship right now is not the best idea. That's not to say that you guys don't care about each other. That's not to say that you guys couldn't, maybe get back together. But I think right now, OP, keep doing what you're doing. Keep working and trying to attain your dreams and change your life for the positive. Same with Bane. But you guys are just in two different sets of pots of messes. Which, neither good nor bad. That's just, life is messy. So, maybe taking a step back from the relationship. I'm guessing, if you guys have 2023, you guys met. 2024, you guys moved in together. It's been about a year. Your lease is going to be up. Take a breather from each other. 6 months to a year. Focus on yourselves. Focus on taking care of your legal paperwork, Bane. Focus on, getting your clothing brand off the ground, OP. And, maybe after a year, maybe after 2 years, come back together, reconvene, see how it works out. Because then you guys will be in a better mental space where you will have the space for the other person. Because right now it seems like both of you guys individually, your plates seem really full. Mm-hmm. That's what, if I were to give advice, but that's.
Yeah. I want to touch on something that you had said earlier.
Yeah.
And it's about perception.
Yeah.
So, the way OP phrased it is, she wasn't trying to be harsh to Bane or, try to be angry at how she was talking to him. Mm-hmm. But to Bane, even though she could have been acting in a calm manner, the things that she may have set something off in him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, maybe she said something that probably sounded like he was getting nagged at, or she may have said something that just set off a fuse, like something with his mother or something. And it's in those moments that you do have to watch out what you say.
Yeah.
Even though you may be acting calm, you do know what gets each other going.
That's true. Like, you can get a reaction.
Right.
Yeah,
so you know what buttons to press, what words to say to get that reaction. So she could have been malicious.
Yeah.
Just not in a negative state. So she could be very calm, but just say the right words, and that could just get him going.
Yeah.
So that type of perception, we don't know what was said. So that was just something I wanted to point out, because as well as I do, I know what things I have to watch out to say to you.
Yeah.
In order for you to not get mad at me.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing for everyone.
We all come from different backgrounds. We're different. Who knows? Maybe my mom used to say a certain word a certain way, and then if Chigi says it, it sets me off. I don't know. It could literally be anything. And you're right. Everyone has different triggers or pulses, or like whatever you want to call them. And when you're in a relationship with someone, you learn those very, very quickly. So I know what I can say to get a reaction out of you. And that's good to know, because then I can avoid that. But it's also one of those things that's like, maybe if I'm angry, so it's like, that's why we don't touch that. Right. When we're angry, wall for like X amount of time, whatever time we determine. But because we do that because that's what works for us, and that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Have any final thoughts?
No, I think you touched up on everything that I wanted to say too. So one other thing I wanted to touch on, it says in the last two paragraphs, she thinks that this is nothing other than a friend with benefits.
And that's how she's perceiving his view of the relationship. Yeah. Right.
And then later on, she says that despite the romantic stuff he does, And then at the end, she goes, I feel like him being with me was just a business decision, but I'm having a hard time cutting it off. He won't do it either. So, with those pieces of information, it doesn't seem like he is trying to leave her in any way. He is actively trying to work on the relationship, whether she sees it or not, because both OP and Bane are not trying to cut off the relationship. So they're trying to make it work.
Yeah. Or like neither are willing to cut off the relationship right now. Yeah.
Right. So there is a willingness for them to work it out later on. And just like you said, for now, once the lease ends, do your thing, do his thing, and then, in X amount of time, get back together, see where you guys stand. But I don't agree with her saying that it's like a friend with benefits situation.
Yeah.
Because despite what she's saying that he does a lot of romantic stuff for her, it seems more than just friends with benefits. It's something that would develop into something more in the future, but just at this point of time with everything that's going on,
there's all the external factors.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that it's going to be anything more than friends with benefits at the time. So that's probably the only other thing I wanted to touch on at the end of this post.
Okay. I do want to, and I just want to tag team because it did make me think of something. This is something that happened kind of early-ish in our relationship, relatively early. Early enough that, like, this was when we would, like, have fights, and then I would just be crying and run away type of thing. And thankfully, we don't have those kinds of fights anymore, or nearly as often. I don't remember the last time we had a fight like that. But, this was early on in our relationship where we didn't know how to communicate with each other. And I remember that I'd asked you to do something really, really silly. Like, I asked you to ask me to be your date to a formal that we were going to attend. Did I know that I was probably going to be your date at this formal? Yes. Were we already planning to go together and we were probably working on matching outfits already? Yes. But it was important to me that you ask me to be your date. And I remember, like, we had talked about this, and I just kind of told you in passing, I was like, I don't want to know any details, but I want you to make a point to ask me to be your date to this thing that we're going to. You're like, okay. Weeks go by. Doesn't happen. This is like a week before the actual event, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I think we were talking in the car or something, and the details are not even the point, because what happened was you said, I remember you said this. You're like, I didn't want to ask you because it was just going to be another Instagram post for you, or you said something like that, like something along the lines of like, you're just going to post it on Instagram, like, I'm asking you and you're going to take a picture and we're going to post it on your Instagram story. And I remember answering you, yeah, maybe I was going to do that. But what was more important to me was I wanted the experience of someone asking me to this type of event because I never got it. Growing up, I didn't get to go to prom. I didn't get to go to homecoming. I didn't get to go do those kinds of things. And this was an opportunity where I was able to go to this kind of like formal event where we're going to dress up and I get to have a date, and I wanted the experience of someone asking me to be their date, and that was what was important to me. And I remember talking to you about this and like crying to you about it, because I think the example I even used was like our friends went to one of our friends is active duty, and he asked his at the time girlfriend, they're now husband and wife now, he asked his girlfriend at the time, can you be my date to military ball, and I referenced that to you, and I remember you thinking like, you kind of said something along the lines of like, oh, I didn't think of that. Like, I didn't think of that as a possible perspective. I just thought you wanted to do this because you wanted to get the likes on Instagram or something. Which, don't get me wrong, obviously, I like posting stories about you and I. Like, that's not untrue, but that wasn't the the root of it, or that wasn't like the real reason of it. And so all of that to say, tying back to, you know, she's saying, oh, he does romantic things, but he's not really trying. I think a lot of times in a relationship that can happen, where what you think is valuable or important in a relationship can be different from what I think is valuable and important in a relationship. Whether that's actions, gifts, whatever it may be. I mean, we talk about 5 love languages, whatever it may be, but like, you know, at the end of the day, if your partner finds it important, they find it important, period. You know, and if you are trying to be the best person for your partner because you love your partner, regardless of what you think, you're still going to do the thing that's important to your partner because you're doing it for your partner. You're not doing it for yourself. I don't go out of my way to try to, I don't know, what's something that I do for you? I don't go out of my way to try to cook you nice meals because I want nice meals. I do, but like, you know, I'm doing it because like I want to work so hard that like this food is so amazing that you're going to enjoy it. That's what's important to me. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, and again, like love being in action. It's not a, oh, I think this is dumb, so I'm going to not do it. It's just like, okay, well, is it important to the other person though? If it is, then, you know, compromise. I'm not saying do everything your partner wants. Definitely not. Life has limitations, 100%. Compromise. Come to a consensus. But at the end of the day, if you love this person and you're trying to bring joy into this person's life, then you're going to do the things that brings them joy. Like, you know, it kind of, I don't know. That's how it makes sense to me logically. And so in the instance where she's saying, he does romantic things, but he doesn't value me. Well, maybe you're not communicating your priorities or like what is meaningful in a relationship to Bane. Like OP's not explaining that to Bane. So if you guys continue in a relationship because maybe you think you can work through your problems or work it out, which, I mean, that's an option too. We worked through our problems. We made it. Or we're making it. You know, I think that's another like hard conversation that you have to have. Like, you have to be honest. Like, okay, yeah, I like that you take care of the house, but like really, you know, I'd really love it if instead of cleaning, I'd much rather you cook because I don't know how to cook. I don't know, something like, but like expressing those kinds of things can help because then you're telling your partner how you want to be loved. And it's up to you to love the way your partner wants to be loved and vice versa. I don't want to love you the way I want to love you. I want to love you the way you want to be loved. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
There's a lot of pronouns. So, yeah, that was, I thought of that one instance where, you know, we disagreed and you literally had a moment where you were just like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Granted, it was my fault. I didn't really tell you that. I didn't know to at the time. What I knew was I had to tell you what I wanted. And that was a whole other thing too, because I didn't want to tell you what I wanted. We had to overcome that hurdle too. You know, so all that to say, again, hope and pray all goes well with, you know, OP and Bane and all the things that they are facing in life. And, you know, give a little grace. Give a little grace and give a little patience. It seems like Bane's going through a lot. And not to, you know, down OP's struggles too. She's going through a lot too. But it seems like OP, you seem like you're working really hard to get your life together. And that's great. Now, if you can do it with Bane next to you, knowing that he's in a dark place right now, good for you. But if you don't think that you can, like I said, 12 months, that lease is up. Why don't y'all take a couple months break? Focus on yourselves, focus on the problems that you guys are facing. Come back together, reconvene, and see how it goes. Any other final thoughts?
No.
But yeah, we just, another kind of big brother, big sister episode for us today. We just, like I said, it's something I've been wanting to do since our last one. There's so many Reddit stories, so it's just like, it's always kind of fun when you deep dive into it. But we hope you guys enjoyed listening to this episode. Thank you so much for listening. What would you tell OP and Bane if if OP came to you with this story, would you give the same advice? Would you give different advice? Let us know in the comments down below. Yeah, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye.